stats and get some things to talk about.
That's right. Women's 10,000 meters. And they're off. 25 laps here in the forest. And Sonia, when they start out, where does their head need to be at this point in the 10,000? There's a lot of running in front of them.
There's a lot of running and it's a lot of laps, and that's always the interesting thing about running at 10,000 meters on the track compared to 10,000 meters on the road. If a 10,000 meter road race starts, people take off, like it's the last 400 meters. The track, they just look like they're jogging for the first few laps, and it feels really easy. And then it's just this accumulation of, I suppose the effort catches up to people in the end. But you have to start slowly and settle into a rhythm, I think, really, to get the pace that you want to be running at for the whole race. And when I used to run 10,000 meters, I always broke it down into 6 times 4 laps. And always, take it 1 4 lap at a time, and then it just seems to make it, rather than thinking of 25 laps and counting down. And you don't really look at the lap counter until you get to single digits. So you're just really just trying to stay relaxed for as long as possible in there.
There's a lot to bite off if you think about it as 25 laps right from the gun. They come up to the first lap here, and it is a 77-second lap, roughly. So that sets us up here on the pace chart that we have. So 77.8 is the time that they need for a 32.25, which is the Olympic trials time. J.C. Smith up front with the 77.7, and then McKenna Myler, Liney Marchant.
Yeah, McKenna Myler is quite interesting. She's just got a little young baby down there. I just met her just before I came up here because she spent some time in Australia last year, and she was training with the Melbourne Track Club when she realised she was pregnant, and she continued to run for a while. And so when I saw her name on the start list, I thought, I've got to find her today. And when we met up with her, she said, we saw you this afternoon in Powell's bookstore in Portland, and but they had to get back and take the baby for a nap. So it's great to see her out racing here, and always great to see new mums back out racing and experiencing that new level of fitness that you get from training while pregnant, and then to come back and be competitive again.
Yeah. Everybody, you said Powell's too, and everybody's got to stop by Powell's when they come to Portland. Well, you just got to Portland as well. You're a new Portland resident.
That was one of the first places I visited. I was here about a month ago when I first got here, and I went downtown to explore the city a little bit. And Powell's bookstore. I love a good bookstore. So my daughter is visiting me this weekend. She's at the University of Washington, so then I had to take her in there as well. So that must be the introduction to Portland.
You get lost in Powell's.
There's a lot of running books in there.
Yeah, I imagine there's a huge running section in there. Because we're in the capital here.
Well, we're coming up to 1 kilometer here now, I think, in this 10,000 meters, and it's about 3:08, 3:09.
Yeah, about
gone through there. No, 3:12.
3:12 through the K, and that's Caroline Kipkarui out front.
Well, she doesn't look like she's racing off to any super fast time here tonight. That's a fairly pedestrian, just about 32-minute pace, maybe just under.
32. So she's doing. If she ran that pace for a while, she'd be doing the pack that's trying to make the Olympic trials a big favor here. J.C. Smith sitting in third there. She's a U.S. Air Force runner. And then Risper Casabwa in fourth there. Risper Casabwa in second, right behind Caroline Kipkarui. And the two of them are breaking off from the pack right now. At J.C. Smith trying to stay in touch, and it's really early on to let a break go like that.
It is, especially when they're not running super fast. They're kind of running at the pace that a lot of these girls will want to run at. So, maybe they're just settling in here, and sometimes it can take, at least, 2 miles to really get into your pace and your rhythm and find out where you're at. And, most of them will be focusing on that first 5K, and then when you see where you're at 5K, to see, what work you've got to do to get to your target time for the second half.
So the big pack there keeps them within their sights. And Kip Karui out driving in front. Now, you recently moved out here to join the elite Nike racing team that Pete Julian also coaches. So you've been hanging out with the women for quite a bit now. What's your experience been like getting to meet those athletes?
Yeah, it's been good. It's I suppose brings me back to my own kind of training and racing days, and just the whole lifestyle of being a professional athlete is, it's something that I suppose I never got too far away from it, but it's great to be back there again and to, be helping from the sidelines and, just seeing the different training methods, because things do change. It's about I was running 21 years ago was the Sydney Olympics, so that was kind of when I was running at, my best, and things change, and it's nice to be back and to see what the girls are doing now, but then also to kind of, I suppose coaching is not just about the sessions and timing, but also about kind of interpreting different things and trying to get into the heads of the athletes and, make sure that they can bring their training times and, training to the races, because that's the most important thing. There's no medals given out at training. It's, at the races where it's most important.
That's that's what I like to hear. The racing is the focus here, and getting people, men and women, to race head to head and to understand each other's strategies and each other's talents, and try to play off of that and try and win the race when you get out there.
Yeah, because there's a lot of time trialing going on these days. Now this looks like a really interesting race here. This is great, to have so many girls, keeping up. I mean, that was pretty similar pace there, about 3:15 for that second kilometre. So they're still maintaining a good steady pace. And the thing with the 10,000 metres is that you want to keep it steady for as long as possible and save something so that you can pick up the pace in the second half and really get racing. So, this is a bit like a bike race here, just no gaps. Everybody wants to keep up, and, the closer you are to the person in front of you, it's a train around here, you're just getting carried along, and, nobody's thinking about racing yet. It's just about keeping up and just maintaining a constant pace.
That's an interesting comparison to the bike race too, because I watch a lot of cycling too out in Europe and the Tour de France and the other big races, and yeah, they're just riding for most of the race until things really get started towards the end, the second half, and moves are made.
10,000 meters is like that. This is like a bit of a peloton here. What would you call it in running? It's a running train, I suppose. There's a big carriage there with a lot of people in it. And they're just all hanging on for as long as possible and just trying to, stay as even pace as possible, I think is the main thing in the 10,000 meters. And just depending on, what pace that is. I mean, this looks fairly comfortable for a lot of the girls at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see when somebody does put in a big move and who goes with it.
And they're clicking off about 77, 78 second laps here. About 5:08 at the mile. So that puts us, let's check the pace chart here.
It's about 31:30 something, is it?
Wow, that's some quick math. Yeah, right around there.
I know. I'm really good at the maths for 75-second laps, 31:15.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good on that one. And then I suppose if you go 3:10 pace per kilometre, then that gives you 31:40. So we can. We can work on that now at the moment. That's pretty good.
Yeah. 32:25 is 5:11 pace here. So they're clicking under that. Risper Gasabwa here at the front, and still Kip Karui, but it looks like we're getting a lead change heading into this lap here, and somebody else is jumping up and taking the reins for a little bit, taking the pressure off. So they're running under Olympic trial standard pace, but we may want a little more, and the pack gets rolling, and we'll see what this split is coming in here. Risper Gasabwa is a Kenyan-born Mexican runner, and she made history by earning her first medal for Mexico at the 2019 Pan American Games in Lima, Peru. So, I mean, that would have been an event that I would have loved to go down to.
Lima, Peru, is that at altitude down there?
Lima's on the coast.
Oh, it's on the coast.
Yeah. I believe. I mean, I wouldn't have known this, but yeah, I went down to
Right.
South America on vacation.
I know, we always make fun of people when they don't know where places are in Europe and, you know, the detail over there. But, yeah, no, South America is the one continent I have never been to. But you often hear people go to altitude training down there, but not in Lima on the coast. So...
And we've got Weigel out front there, and Caroline Kipkurui back there as well. They came through 9:41 at the 3K. So 10:20 for 2 mile. Right about 5:10 pace. Well, yeah, 10:20 for 3,200. So 5:11 is 32:25. And Kipkurui and Weigel out in front. And then J.C. Smith and Risper Gasabwa still. And Molly Seidel there, sitting in about 6th place, and she, well, as everybody knows, made Team USA for the marathon. So she's already punched her ticket to Tokyo. And Kipkurui still out there in front, J.C. Smith right behind her.
So you would wonder with some of the girls here who are trying to get the Olympic trials qualifying standard, because now they've just decided there's going to be 2 races there. You'd have to run for a fast time to get into that A heat.
That's an excellent point. That the two race or the 2 heat system is very difficult when you're trying to make a team and hit top 3. It's hard to race against the clock, I think, when you don't know what that second heat's going to do. That definitely benefits the second heat there.
It does, and I mean, at 10,000 meters to be trying to, I suppose it's a lot easier to beat the times in a 10,000 meters than in 800 meters, because there's a long way to go and you can just start off pretty fast. But it's interesting to have timed heats in an Olympic trials and how people will manage that or how they'll approach that. Because, you know, traditionally it's the top 3 across the line, but the first race, the top 3 will have to wait until the second race is finished and determine who are the fastest top 3 in the championships.
And the first heat would have no choice. They can't let the pace lag at all. They have to get on it from the gun. They're
going to have to go for it, and it will be interesting to see. I mean, there will obviously be some people in this slower heat who would want to be in the faster heat, and, you know, maybe they'll have to go and recruit some people to help them out. You know, there's going to be some girls in there who have no chance of getting in the top 3, but they could maybe help out some friends in, you know, if they're in that heat. There might be some ideas there for some people.
Some dealings behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Interesting. We've got Kipkurui out front, and that was the fastest lap of the race. They've extended their gap here, and 74-second lap for that last lap. Kipkurui and Gasabwa are pulling away and leaving the pack to decide whether they want to stick on Olympic trials pace here.
Well, you would think, I mean, the Olympic trials is not too far away now either. How many weeks away is it? 2 weeks?
We
3
start
weeks?
June 18th.
June 18th. So, you know, you're not going to want to put in too much of an effort already with such a short time to go to that. So maybe some of them are saving their effort as well and, you know, believing that if I can at least just qualify, then I'll put in my best effort at the trials.
There's a lot of effort measuring going on with these 2 different heats, and then how close we are to the trials, and a lot of mental calculations going on here for this 10,000 meters.
And there's a lot of gaps going on here now as well. You know, we've got the 2 girls up at the front, and then this seems to be the strong girls who are looking for the Olympic trials qualifying going.
Yeah, this pack up here led by J.C. Smith, and then McKenna Myler in there as well for a Run Elite program. But Kipkurui out here, and she's getting a gap on Gasabwa as well. So this could be a long solo effort for Kipkurui if she's trying to push it this hard this early.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see where they go. One more lap now, and it'll be 5,000 meters, and that will give us a true indication of where they're at and where everybody else is at, and we'll be able to do some easy maths here when we come around the next lap. But yeah, they're definitely picking up the pace here. They've had enough relaxing, and now I'm going to start lapping athletes as well here.
It seems like Gasaba's got some decisions to make in this moment in time too.
I think she's got to hang in there, because otherwise it's a long road ahead if you let the gaps open up. And I mean, she looks pretty relaxed, Gazaba. I think she's she's letting Kip Karui do all the work out there, so just got to hang in there for as long as possible. And
that lap for the chase pack was 76 seconds too, so they're staying under that 77 second pace needed for 32:25. And you can see Kip Karui 73 seconds and Gasabwa staying on there. Gasabwa knows that if she lets Kip Karui go here, she's going to have a tough time in that spot in between the front runner and the pack.
Gasabwa, she's just about operating on her best time, which is 31:59. So they're just going to go through halfway here now, just under 16 minutes. So she's got to hang on there a little bit longer, and she will definitely break her personal best. And I don't think doesn't look like she's having any problem keeping up here at the moment. And she's got the perfect pacemaker. Maybe they're friends. Maybe she's helping her out, Karui.
It could be. I mean, you need friends if it's a two-woman race up front, I think, for a 10,000 meters. So sub 16 minutes through 5,000 meters to start out, and the chase pack follows them.
Did you see what the chase pack went through the halfway in?
We didn't catch that. We'll look at that. We'll see how far behind the chase pack is. Let's see. The chase pack is about 10 seconds back, so they're under.
So they're 32:20 pace then.
Yes. So they're still on pace there, and that'll be a fun race when that shapes up at the very end too, in the final laps. But Gasabwa here, trying to hang on to Kip Karui, letting her do all the work at this point.
No, it's interesting. She's wearing a T-shirt underneath her singlet. It's quite warm out there tonight for 10,000 meter running.
It is. It's a nice evening, but it's. I mean, maybe it's a style choice there.
Possibly.
you get
trying to change up last year's gear and make it look like something different this year.
You get some basketball players out there wearing T-shirts under their jerseys. It's a fashion choice. Kip Karui coming in here, and we're getting a look at the pack. Everybody's spread out now around the track. There's different packs forming, people chasing with each other, working together. This chase pack is getting a little spread out as well, with McKenna Myler out front.
She looks like she's looking for help in the stands. She's heading over there, but I think it's always interesting how the group splits up like that. Right? They were all running along comfortably together, and then people realise that that maybe the time is slipping away from them, and they need to put in a bit of a harder effort. McKenna Myler put in a 76-second lap there, which is going to keep her underneath that 32:25 pace. But Kip Karui and Gasabwa, they're just powering away here. I think we need to get some splits of their laps here, because they look like they're getting faster each lap.
Yeah, and maybe McKenna Myler's trying to push up and bridge that 10-second gap up to the front runners.
Yeah, because it's still a long way to go for her to be out by herself chasing them. But she's got a little bit of a gap here now, McKenna. She looks like she's gone away. Molly Seidel has got her in sight also. It's not easy when you don't have somebody in, I suppose, bridging gap of the leaders. She's it's a big gap there now. So maybe if McKenna and Molly could work together, then I think they may benefit each other. But I suppose it just depends if they can get together. There's a little bit of a gap there between them now.
It's tough to go it alone to bridge that gap. McKenna Myler is definitely tough. In 2020, she went viral when she ran a 5:25 mile at 9 months pregnant.
That's really impressive. That's pretty amazing.
So this has got to feel like a walk in the park. Maybe.
Not really comparable, but it is great to see that she's managed to get her fitness back, and to be coming out here and putting a mark down, and currently definitely on pace to get to the Olympic trials, and that's some achievement when you've been out for that amount of time. But if she's running 5:25 when she's 9 months pregnant, then she's obviously kept pretty fit throughout and hasn't lost too much.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing about this year too, is that she wouldn't have been able to shoot for the trials last year, obviously, if she was pregnant. So there are a lot of stories about athletes who are competing in 2021 who have had another year of training, who have had another year to develop, where things work out for them.
She looks too good for that.
Kip Karui still out front there with Gasabua following her. And Kip Karui doing all the work here. Her last lap, a 76-second lap. So it looks like the front runners and the chase pack are now running pretty similar splits.
Similar splits, but a big gap. I don't think they're definitely not helping each other. They're keeping them in sight, but now we've got Molly Seidel taking over here and helping out, and this is going to help to know that Molly Seidel, McKenna Myler are working together. They've got each other to focus on now, and that will definitely help for the next few laps.
And that's also Laura Hurley here, who's hanging on and trying to help out the chase pack as well. Molly Seidel making the Olympic team in the marathon. She'll be joining us in the booth tomorrow, but actually in our notes here, as we were compiling notes, she said she used to run the 10K but wasn't great at it. So she ran her first marathon wildly unprepared, and it somehow turned out okay, which is the understatement of the century, I think.
Well, her personal best for the 10K is 32:24, so she's definitely under that pace at the moment. So that's always motivation, when you're not in a position to win the race, that you have a kind of plan B, to keep yourself focused and to keep working hard. And I actually worked with that scenario myself at the Sydney Olympics. I ended up in no man's land, but my coach wanted to talk me out of running in the Olympic 10,000 after running in the 5,000, and I said yeah, but I could break the Irish record. So that was my plan B, to keep me focused and to keep going for the 25 laps. And I think you just need to have some motivation, to be focused on each lap you come around to keep you running at the particular pace.
And now, Molly Seidel moving up here, and I don't know if this is the case, but she told me leading into this race that she was going to do a tempo before this race in marathon training. So I don't know if that was still her plan or not, but she said even an 8 to 10 mile tempo run leading into this race tonight.
Well, it's taken her a while to kind of, look like she's, really trying in this race. I think she really was relaxed pretty early on, but now she looks like she's kind of regained her kind of, I suppose she feels good if she did do a tempo beforehand. But marathon runners, they do crazy things, they need to do the miles, they need to do these long efforts before, and then to have a 10K, purpose-built race to jump into and pull you along is ideal. I mean, 32:25, it's a very achievable time for a lot of people. Up until definitely in 2000, when you ran 10,000 meters at the Olympics, they had heats as well. So you would have to run heats a few days before in the 10,000 meters, and then the final. And typically 32:20 was the time that people would run in the heats. And you would run that and you wouldn't think much of it. Like, it wasn't, a big effort. That was just, it was like a tempo run, because you knew the big effort was, in the 31s.
And that's the kind of athlete that Molly Seidel is, and you have to be to make the team, make the Olympic team in this country. And
but if you're on the Olympic team for the marathon, then you need to be competitive over 10,000 meters as well. So this is ideal preparation for her, and then to have the opportunity to run in the Olympic trials as well at 10,000 meters, because there's not so many races around at the moment, with the, a lot of races are cancelled and put off, not too many road races. So sometimes running on the track, you can run at a lot more even pace, and it's a lot more controlled and manageable than a road race where everybody hairs off at the start and then has to kind of find their rhythm.
And then, so we still have Caroline Kipkurui out front and Risper Gasabwa behind her, and they're clicking off 76s. Molly Seidel is about 15 seconds back, with McKenna Myler following her as well. So we're coming up to and they're rolling down the backstretch now, and
yeah, they're running into a bit of traffic here now, which can complicate things a little bit for us as much as anything else.
They're weaving around.
They are, but people make out, that can be a bit of a issue at times, but I think if everybody just holds their position, it's easier than some people moving out and some people staying in, and you can quite easily move around people. And it's just when it comes to, you see it sometimes in big championship finals, and when there's a big sprint and then they're passing people, it can complicate things a little bit, but they're not going at a super fast pace here tonight. I think they'll be under 32 minutes, but this looks like it's fairly comfortable. It'd be interesting to see if there's going to be a big sprint at the end. I know when watching 10,000 metres before, I used to always say, you just have to keep up and sprint the last lap. But, things have changed over the years, and now people, run when they're starting, the girls especially, when they're running, low 30-minute pace, like you'd be on the limit for quite a bit of the race. But I think this is a fairly comfortable pace for these girls who are leading Kipkurui, and
Kipkurui has a 31:16 personal best, and that last mile split was a 5:07, so they're working it down. Risper Gasabwa, like you said, has a 31:59 personal best, so she's looking for that. But
we must be about a mile to go now. Are we 4 laps to go?
Yeah, we're 4 laps to go in this 10,000 meters.
Less?
So, yeah, a little less. 77 seconds on that last lap for Kipkurui. And the pace is very similar back to Molly Seidel and McKenna Myler, who are that second duo that's chasing.
Yeah, so we're just coming up to 3 laps to go now, and it's just about 28 minutes. So if there would be about 31:30 would be a good guesstimate of what time they could approach here, I think.
Is that your guess, Sonia? 31:30?
I think so, yeah.
Barring any blow-ups or scorching last laps.
Molly and McKenna are coming through here now in 28:16 and 17. So they're well under the 32:25 pace, and I think they'll be close to 32 minutes.
And now, Molly and McKenna have run 76s and 77s for the front pack. I think the pack they still have some work to do. They're 13 seconds back from the 2 leaders right now, so they'd have a little bit more work to do. But Molly helping McKenna Myler out a lot in this race.
Yeah, they're just coming up now with 1 kilometre to go. So, when you stand on the start line and you think of 10 kilometres, to be coming around with 1 kilometre to go, this is where people get excited and they think, we're close to home here now. And I think the pace is going to start building here. And so that's where you get some bonus seconds, and you run even faster than predicted.
And this is where the racing really begins, too. With McKenna Myler, she's being towed around the track right now by Molly Seidel. McKenna Myler doesn't have a 10K time to her name, at least to our knowledge. So this would be a big race for her here, whatever it is.
This is an amazing race for her. I mean, for me to see McKenna running so well tonight, after seeing her training in Australia last year, where she came and joined the Melbourne Track Club, that she came and had her baby daughter and now back on the track and racing, just shows, the commitment that she has to her running, and it's fantastic to see that.
And then back to the front here, Kip Karui making a move to try and get rid of Gasabwa here, but Gasabwa not letting her go. She's reeling her back in. There was a little bit of daylight growing there, but the duo is back together, and Kip Karui has led this whole thing basically, at least from the very early goings, the first mile or so. And Gasabwa is just, she's probably got a really good knowledge of Kip Karui's upper back at this moment, I think. Because she's just been staring straight at it this whole time.
Oh, there's a little bit of a gap happening here now, I think. It just depends. They'll have to go about 60 seconds here now if they're to get close to 31:30.
And this is the bell lap.
For this last lap. But the only thing is they're not going to get the Olympic standard.
That would be 31:25.
Which 31:25, which they achieved just a couple of weeks ago in Irvine, was good to watch. So yeah, it would make you wonder what Caroline Kipkurui, what's her motivation for running this race tonight. When she's not getting the Olympic standard, she never looked like she set out to do that.
And Kip Karui here, she's throwing it down. This is the final lap of the race, and she had a 75-second penultimate lap, and so did Gasabwa. But now Gasabwa's out of the picture, and it's all Caroline Kip Karui coming into the finish, and she still looks very good rolling in here. So she's flailing a little bit, but we'll see what this last lap is. And there's Gasabwa too, and we know Gasabwa's personal best is 31:59.
31:59, and she looks like she's just about going to get underneath that as well. But Kip Karui wins in 31:44, and Gasabwa comes in 31:48.
All right, and Kip Karui takes it, 31:44. 31:44.06, a 67-second final lap for Caroline Kip Karui. Here comes Molly Seidel and McKenna Myler. We'll see what those times are as they populate up on the board. Molly Seidel going back and giving McKenna Myler some props. 32:02 and 32:03. Personal best for both of them.
That's great to see that tonight. I think particularly Molly, she'd be delighted with that. With marathon training, it's really important to keep the track speed in your legs, because I think that really does help when you go to run the marathon. And Lauren Hurley, 32:17. I think that would be a big personal best for her as well.
Yeah, Lauren Hurley of the Tin Man group there, pulling in 32:17 under the qualifier. So 5 women hit under that U.S. Olympic Trials qualifier. It matters to a few of them. McKenna Myler, obviously, and Lauren Hurley. Molly Seidel's last lap was 73 seconds there. So we'll see. We'll have to talk to Molly tomorrow and see if that workout came to fruition before this race or not. But
I know you'd have to get all the details, but 73 seconds for a marathon runner, that's pretty good going. That's like close to 9-minute pace for 3,000 meters. I think she'd be very pleased with that.
That's cooking.